Monday Night Football. The Cincinnati Bengals are on the road, taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. My best bets are on the way. What's going on? My name's Austin from Calling Our Shot. Let's recap how we did on Sunday. Pretty good day for us. 3-2, extending our run to 14-4 over the past week or two in the NFL. We'll certainly take that. Our biggest play of the weekend, David Montgomery, 50-plus rushing yards, and Jahmyr Gibbs, 25-plus, pretty sweat-free. They get that done for 1.5 units. The rest of the plays, Tyreek Hill was sweat-free. The man had like a 78-yard catch on their first drive. A.J. Brown's receptions parlayed with Devontae Smith to get 25-plus receiving yards, pretty free. Our losers, Adam Thielen, over 5.5 receptions. If I'm being honest, I'm recording this in the fourth quarter of their game. He had 2 receptions in the first quarter. Nothing after that. If he somehow got 6+, I will adjust it on the screen, but that ain't happening. And then, man, Amari Cooper should have been an easy winner. Over 3.5 receptions, parlayed with his 50-plus receiving yards. He had 3 for like 34 with like 8 minutes left in the second quarter and then got out with a concussion. Get well soon to him. We'll take a 3-2 day and continue that momentum. And just to add a little bit of icing on top, due to some bad beats, we also cashed our NFL Sunday parlay at plus 728 odds. We do a separate video for Sundays in that, and hopefully you checked it out and tailed that and made some money with me. And if you didn't, what are you doing? To make sure you don't miss out on any of our videos, hit that subscribe button down below. We're trying to close in on 200,000 subscribers, trying to hit that by the end of 2023. So do us a favor, go down below. It only takes a second. Last note, before we're diving into the picks, Underdog Fantasy has a free square right now for new users that sign up using our code. It's for Trevor Lawrence to just get 1 yard. He's going to get that done. And then, of course, if you want to make sure you get that free square, you must be a new user, and you got to sign up using our code COS or the top link in the description. You also get a 100% deposit match up to $100. So take advantage of that. Here's all the states that Underdog Fantasy is in, a ton of US states. So take advantage. We always talk about Underdog, not just in the NFL videos, but also in our NBA videos as well. But let's dive into the picks. Let's go 2-0 on Monday Night Football and a great Week 13. My first pick is going to be a guy that is on the thumbnail. He's pretty good if you've never heard of him, which would be a surprise. Jamar Chase. I like his over 56.5 receiving yards, minus 110 on DraftKings. Now, I personally would play this to right around 59.5. I don't think the line goes up too much by the time kickoff rolls around, but I really like this matchup for Jamar Chase on Monday Night Football against the Jacksonville Jaguars secondary. Now, I was going back and forth. I was trying to pick, which Bengal prop to take. I was going to take Jake Browning's over in yards. Then I landed on Jamar Chase because I don't really think Browning's throwing for 225, give or take, if Jamar Chase doesn't have close to 50, heck, 60 yards. And we saw last week, Jamar Chase and this offense did not look good. They lost by 6 to the Steelers, but they got outplayed. That final score was much closer than the real game was. And Chase, only 4 receptions, 6 targets for 81 yards. Browning himself, 19 for 26 for 227 yards. Now, I will admit, if you watched that game, 2 of Jamar Chase's receptions came off tipped passes. He was throwing it to him. They just were tipped, and he had to juggle and try to catch one. But hey, that just shows Jamar Chase can do good with bad passes, which you might get some bad ones tonight because Browning's obviously not the best quarterback in the league. But still, this week, you look at Browning, his other props. You got his pass attempts line sitting at 33.5. His completions are on 20.5, 21.5. So they clearly expect him to be airing it out, and this is a great matchup for opposing QBs to air out the football. We've seen this season Jaguars allow the 5th most passing yards per game because they allow the 9th fewest rushing yards per attempt. So this is a team that's been really good at stopping the run. Their secondary really hasn't caught up to that D-line, and they're really giving up a lot of yards. And we saw that last week. C.J. Stroud had a big day, and honestly should have had a bigger day if they counted some of Tank Dell's receptions, which were a little bit questionable. Get well soon to Tank Dell, who's now on IR, I believe. But this season, we've just seen opposing number 1 wide receivers have huge days versus this Jaguars secondary. And Jamar Chase is the number 1 guy on this Bengals passing attack. We saw Nico Collins last week, 104 yards. Tank Dell on the other side, 50. I think Tank Dell should have had more than that. Deontay Johnson's had 85 yards against his team. Chris Olave, 57. Pittman Jr., 109. Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs both had 100+ in the same game. So, look, Jamar Chase is going to get the usage. They're not just going to avoid him like the Commanders did Terry McLaurin, PTSD, but this is just the guy they're going to throw the football to. And this is the guy, even though Burrow obviously is not there, I would love if he was out there. We would never get this line if Joe Burrow was starting. I think Browning's clearly capable of getting the ball to him. And look, he doesn't have to be too cute with it. Just throw some screens to him, throw the ball to him. He'll do his thing. Jamar Chase is, as he said before, he's always open. And I certainly think that will be the case against the Jaguars secondary. Also, I like that T. Higgins is back because T. Higgins is the guy that can stretch the field. Recently, in the past week or two, without him, it's really just Jamar Chase, the only guy running deep down the field, and they're just kind of doubling him. I think Jamar Chase gets some opportunities on Monday night. We'll roll with his over 56.5 receiving yards. I think he gets into the 60s on Monday night. Now, my second play, I'm going to flip to the other side. We're going to go to Jaguars pass catcher, and it's a guy we've talked about before. He's made us some money before, and his name is Evan Ingram, and I'm taking his over 4.5 receptions plus 110 on BetMGM. Now, I was really close to taking his receiving yards, but I think the receptions are an easier play for Ingram. because he has some games where he gets 5 receptions and like 29 yards. Like, what are you doing, man? But also, this is plus 110 on ESPN Bet. I wouldn't play it at 5.5, but I would play this probably about minus 120, maybe minus 125. Then outside of that, probably wouldn't take it. But we've seen in 11 games so far this season, Ingram is averaging 5.8 receptions per game. He's recorded 5+, hitting this over in 8 of 11 games, and it has 4+ receptions in all 11. So he's a very high floor. This is a guy that they throw the ball to a lot, and this is a Jaguars passing attack that does throw the ball a good amount. And with Travis Etienne a little bit banged up, he is expected to play in this game. I still don't necessarily know if they use him a ton. Maybe Dearness Johnson gets some more work on Monday night, but either way, maybe we see them kind of lean on Trevor Lawrence's arm a little bit more, where they're throwing maybe more short passes instead of running it on first down. That certainly could be the case. And Evan Ingram is the guy with the lowest average depth of target of any non-running back on this team. He's the guy that runs a lot of short routes, and we've seen those guys that do that have absolutely dominated this Bengals defense. We've seen them really struggling to defend opposing tight ends. They're allowing the 6th most receptions this season to tight ends. And you look at last week, Pat Freiermuth put on a masterclass, 9 receptions. We've also seen Dalton Kincaid and George Kittle both have 10 and 9 receptions respectively. All of this coming basically since Halloween. Also in there, you had Dalton Schultz have 4 for 71. He doesn't have a big of a target share as a guy like Evan Ingram. And then you also saw a guy like Mark Andrews was feasting on them in the first drive, and that's when he got injured and out for the season. So I really like this one. Now, Evan Ingram is not your stereotypical tight end. He's not really blocking a whole lot like probably a lot of those guys do, but Evan Ingram's also running a lot of those short routes. I think he's open a lot of the time, and I think that with the Jags maybe having a little bit banged up on ETN and the running backs, maybe they lean on the pass a little bit more. I really like Ingram. He's been really good for us before. We've taken his reception spot before. I think this is a great spot. I'm pretty confident he gets at least 4. Maybe that one extra he can get us for the over 4.5 receptions at plus 110 on BetMGM. That's great value. I really think it should be closer to minus 125, maybe minus 130. So, Evan Ingram, we're your number one fan, man. Go get it done. Now, finally, it is my Underdog fantasy entry. We're going to wrap up the video talking about it. A reminder, they have a free square for Trevor Lawrence to get 1 yard. Make sure you sign up using our code COS with the top link in the description. It helps support the channel by using our codes, and there's a bunch of different states. If you are in it, you get pick them eligible, and you get that 100 potential match. Don't match your first deposit. Could be a potential 100 free dollars. Now, here's my entry I'm rolling with. I got $25 on this one to win 150. Now, obviously, there is one leg in here I've not talked about. If you are a new user, I'd probably swap out Trevor Lawrence's rushing yards for Trevor Lawrence's free square, which you would get. I'm obviously not a new user because I talk about Underdog probably like 3 times a week. Man, I use them a lot more than that, but Jamar Chase and Evan Ingram, we talked about them. I like Lawrence's rushing yards. I talked about ETN being a little bit banged up. That feels like Lawrence is always, just kind of meeping around in the backfield, and then you just see him taking down the sideline for like 20+ yards. Like, what the heck? And his rush attempts set at 3.5. They have the juice on the over for this rushing yards. And I really think Trevor Lawrence, we know he's capable of taking those read option, designed run type things. And I think that's going to be, he'll have some opportunities here. You never can count out Trevor Lawrence. He's always capable of making plays with his feet. So I like his rushing yards prop. It's not going to be an individual play I will take, but I'll throw it in here. I think it's got a good chance of hitting. And if he's not running the football, maybe he's throwing it to Evan Ingram. We can cash both those legs, and then Jamar Chase can take us home. But that's going to be my favorite picks for Monday Night Football. As always, let me know your favorite picks down below. I will have an NBA Best Bets video live on the channel. We swept in our last time. We did not last video. We didn't have any NBA games on Sunday, but we have 2 in-season tournament games. So when that video is live, I'll link it on the channel on the screen. Also, if you want to go check out some second channel videos, you certainly can do that as well. Those are a couple of them are linked on the screen as well. Go show the second channel some love. But it's Austin. Let's have a great end to this week 13, which has been pretty good to us. And I'll see you guys back again in the next one. Hopefully recapping a 2-0 day on Thursday Night Football. And I'll obviously see you in our other videos that we post daily. It's Austin signing out. See you in the next one. Peace.